everyone. Welcome to the show. This is Secured. My name is Nella and I'm your host. And here on Secured, we're going to be talking about biblical views on marriage, relationships, how to be single, and everything else that encompasses that. So on today's episode, we're going to be talking to 4 married men and to hear their views about marriage and how they keep their marriage life secured.
Hi, my name is Jason November and I am 24 years old.
My name is Carmelo, and I'm 31 years old.
Hi, my name is Bolawari Majid, and I'm 29 years old.
Hi, my name is Jordan. I'm 27 years old, and I've been married for 2 going on 3 years in April.
The best thing about marriage is that I get to spend a lot of time with my wife, and we get to, to serve God together.
Marriage has shaped me a lot. I got married when I was 21 years old. So, it really matured me, allowed me to see, things from, a more mature perspective and just, allowed me to grow alongside my wife.
What advice would I give to single guys right now? First of all, enjoy your single life. Love God, serve the kingdom with the time that you have now, but also step up and pick a woman. Don't get too worried about all of the things that that concern you. Just step out in faith and choose somebody to marry.
Okay, welcome guys. I'm really excited to see you guys' perspective. Like, you guys are on the different end of the spectrum. You guys are men who are married. So it's going to be interesting to know what you guys think about being secured in marriage. So I just want to really get into it really and just dive in right in. Why did you get married, Jordan?
Why did I get married?
So the reason why I'm asking this is really to understand, like, was it like a pressure thing, or was it like you felt like, okay, like I'm ready to take the next step? Like, yeah, where did that mindset?
I think there's a lot of different components to the reason why I got married. There is a certain like dynamic happening in the church at that. Like if I'm making it personal, well, there was. For me, I have a vision of what I want to do for God, and marriage was a huge part of being able to do that. You need a helpmate. You need somebody that's going to be able to aid you and work hand in hand with you in the ministry. And that's one thing. I really wanted to do more for God, and I thought that what I'm doing now can be 10 times better if I have my wife with me. And 2, there's the sexual component to it. Obviously, as a genuine born-again Christian, abstinence is a key component, right? It's something that is a necessity. It's a commandment from God. So part of my reason for getting married is wanting to express myself and be intimate with somebody, and have that companion on a more intimate level. But
100%, I hear that. So how would you answer that, Jason?
For me personally, I didn't want to waste time. Like I knew what I wanted.
Just cut straight, into it. Jeez.
I didn't want to waste time. I knew what I wanted. And when my wife came to church, right? Granted, like I didn't like her, at first, to be honest, but we got to know each other, and she had what I wanted, and I really didn't want to waste time. I knew what I wanted for my life. I knew what I wanted to do with my life. So I just did it. Just got married.
Makes sense. How about you, Bolu?
To be honest, growing up, I saw my parents, married. They have, a happy marriage.
Oh, nice.
So it was always something that I wanted to do eventually. Just had to come down to when I was ready to do it. And how did I know I was ready? I just, I kind of knew. You just kind of know. And I also got advice from brothers as well. I went to ask them. And I felt I was ready. Then I decided to take the big step. I also wanted to, spend the rest of my life with a companion, someone that could help me, we can make decisions together. So I would say I had this, in a sense, maybe dreamy kind of,
And I guess that stemmed from
sense.
your parents' marriage, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
kind of
for
seeing
sure.
that. Okay, I understand. And last but not least, Mr. Lothian. So why did you get married?
Why did you? For me personally, it was
Now we really need to know.
for me personally, it was just I wanted to change dynamic. Like what Bolu said, it's like he's seen his parents, he's seen people around him married. I never seen none of that. Growing up in a Caribbean house, I never seen none of that. Never wanted to get married. It's not until I came to church and I actually got saved and I seen the purpose and the reason for marriage. That's when I wanted to get married, you know?
Okay.
I didn't want, like, when I got saved, it's like, and I realized the understanding for marriage, I never wanted to stay single and be like, okay, me and Jesus in the clouds. You know, I wanted to get married to change my whole generation, to change my whole generation,
Yeah,
basically.
so that like I guess you wanted to get married so that you're able to do something more for God. Kind
Exactly,
of thing, right?
exactly.
Okay. I get you. So then, what were your biggest struggles as a single man?
For me personally, obviously, as a single guy, right? Like you do struggle with lust.
Yeah.
Right. I would say that was the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Right. For me, just staying pure and just making sure my heart is guarded. But other than that, I did struggle with confidence, like just having confidence in myself, right? And just having confidence in what God was going to do in my life. At times for me it was kind of blurry. It's like, yo, am I like what am I doing? You know what I mean? Like, okay, I'm serving God, but what am I doing while I'm serving God? Am I really accomplishing anything, or am I just surviving? So I just had to learn how to be confident. Had conversations with people who instilled that in me, that I have to believe in myself and I have to be confident that God's gonna use my life, right? But yeah, I would say those two things were things that I did struggle with as a single person.
Yeah.
But I do still feel like with the confidence thing, that's something that I'm still,
You're growing
I'm
in.
still growing
Yeah,
in
because
and
I was
still
about
learning.
to ask you, like, being married, then did that like change anything? Did that redirect you? Because you're saying how like you felt like you were kind of in a blur when you were
Yeah.
single. So then do you feel like being married now, did that bring direction and redirect you to what you need to be doing for God?
Yeah, of course, most definitely. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I feel like, one of the reasons that I did get married too was because, obviously, I feel a calling on my life. I want to preach the gospel and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I think that that's a little bit more clear. But there's still, there's
You're a work
some
in
still
progress,
confidence.
right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
And how about you, Bolu? What were some struggles that you had?
So struggles as a single man, you have so many struggles. As a single man, I would say I had so many weaknesses. To be honest, for one of them, quiet, very to myself, isolated. I would say the other thing, like to piggyback off what Jason said as well, confidence. Having that boldness to
Yeah.
speak, publicly and just. Building lasting relationships. I think that was a big struggle for me as a single, and it's still something I'm working on. But I would say, going into marriage, it kind of helped me a lot because now, like, it opened my eyes to so many different things that, I need to work on and to be better at.
Yeah.
Because obviously, your wife is also there to kind of expose your weaknesses and help you
Yes,
in those areas. So I think, those were the things I struggle with. And I'm very glad that I'm married today. And, even though I still struggle with some of these things, I'm able to, see them and able to work on them.
Yeah. And lastly, Jordan.
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest struggle, when I was a single, it was, life was like, it was very easy. It was very easy. I lived in the men's home with the guys. You go to work, you come home, you go outreach, you're in every ministry, you're in. So it's like as a single guy, there wasn't much issues. I would say the only real struggle that I had to relate to what Jason said earlier in lust. and the desiring a woman or anything, just looking at a woman to desire her in your heart. That was the number one struggle with me, for me. But yeah, generally it was a pretty sweet life.
Yeah, I hear you. So then, okay, so now that you guys are now on the other side, like looking back now, how do you think that you were able, like, if you could change things, how do you think you could have made your singleness count more for God? Like, how would you answer that, Bolu?
So just the basics. I think being a single man at the time, I believe I could maybe probably have built even more stronger relationships with people. I think I could have done that because I don't think it's the easiest to do when you're in marriage. But yeah, hanging out with people more, more
investing in
fellowship.
people's lives
Yeah,
type of
investing
thing?
in
Okay.
people's lives. I think I should have done that more. The only other thing I'll point to maybe to spend more time like in fellowship, in devotion with God.
Okay.
You know, I think I could have done that more because, you know, when you're single, you might not be in so many situations where, you know, you would have to lead somebody, right? But in marriage, you're always a leader. You have to be an
Yeah.
example. You have to lead spiritually. So I think that would have been, you know, to help me to cross over and
Okay,
to be
yeah,
able
I
to
see
spend
you.
that time and to be able to lead and to show my wife and to be a good example
Yeah,
to my
makes
wife,
sense.
for sure.
Okay. What would you say, Carmelo?
For me, definitely discipline in the spiritual things,
Yeah.
and also discipline in finances. I felt like if, as single, I could have been more wise with the finances, being more structured and more strengthened, and being more knowledgeable,
Yeah.
and then bring that over into the marriage. It's not really until you get married then you really start to get serious about finances.
Yeah, you see how important it
Exactly,
is. Yeah.
because having to be the head of a household is like you have to be responsible for a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And financially insecure is not like one of those stuff you want to be entering into marriage and being insecure about, or not having a proper structure about,
Yeah.
you know?
That makes sense though. Like if like more single men were like had that focus, like okay, like let's focus on like let me focus right now on my current state financially, spiritually, like you know, like when
'Cause
you do
it's-
take that step, yeah.
Yeah, because it's like a blessing when you're single and you have the opportunity to take advantage of the finance you have
Yeah.
now. Because it's when you're single, you have to just take care of you.
Yeah,
you
because
know?
all the money you're making is going straight to your face.
Exactly,
right?
and you're
Yeah.
just using on materialistic things when you
I
could actually be
know.
investing in the spiritual stuff, you know?
Yeah. And how would you add to that, Jason?
For me personally, like for I wouldn't really say that I I don't know if I would change anything with my single life. I mean, it's
I
tough
guess
to
the
say.
question maybe it would have been, even if I had to rephrase it, maybe it's more like, what could you have told yourself then? You know, if you had the opportunity to kind of talk to yourself then,
Okay.
before entering to marriage, like
Yeah.
you know, because you now
Yeah,
have
yeah.
a new wisdom, new knowledge. So it's like, if I knew then what I know now, like kind of mindset, like what would you say?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I got you now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if that's the case, definitely I think I'm gonna roll with Mello still. I'm gonna roll with Mello. I think what I would have told myself is because going into marriage, like I really thought that this is going to be a breeze.
Oh,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like financially, boom, take off.
Wow.
You know, easy. You know,
Really?
save with my eyes closed, right? So I think I would have talked to myself and just said, slow down, really like focus and understand that this is going to take hard work. It's not just gonna fall on your lap. It's not just gonna happen.
Yeah.
Right? You're really gonna have to work hard and you're gonna have to stay focused. Right.
Yeah.
And I had to learn that the hard way. But
Oh yeah. Yeah, I hear you. How about you, Jordan?
I'm really glad you came to me last because I really can't. It's hard to think of something that I would tell myself now to do better. I feel like Financially, definitely. That would be one of the things that I could have done better. But if anything, I think the me from 5 years ago can come back and tell me a couple of things. It's like maybe I can sacrifice my time a bit more to do the things that I used to do more consistently.
Okay.
Of course, all I have is a COVID year in my near memory right now, but even prior to, I wasn't nearly as passionate on the streets or consistent on outreach and practicing as much as I used to. I feel like the old me can tell me today a couple of things about where I am.
But I think also
spiritually.
it's like circumstances are different, right? Like before you had no one to care for it. Like you had no responsibility. It's really just you and God, whatever, right? Now you have your spouse, a baby coming. And so like things are gonna be different, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think a big thing now is learning balance.
Yeah,
It's learning balance and being able to say, okay, yeah, I need a little bit of this, but I also need a little bit of that.
Yeah.
I can't neglect my home or else I'm worse than an unbeliever.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Facts. So then, you know what? One thing that I also wanted to ask, because one thing that you guys mentioned across the board is that one thing that you guys struggled with was lust. So do you think that marriage cures lust? Like, because I feel like a lot of single men are coming with the mindset like, you know what? I'm struggling. Let me just get married and just deal with the matters,
Yeah.
And, yeah.
I think it does. It obviously doesn't cure, but it definitely helps. Like a thousand times better.
Okay.
To be married and go through whatever you might be going through than without it. I just think it's better.
I guess if you have like deeper issues. Then,
If you have like deeper issues and you're a fornicator and you're addicted to pornography, you're constantly running after women and chasing them, then you have an issue that marriage is definitely not going to solve. You need to resolve that with Christ before coming to marriage. But I don't think that a lot of guys think that marriage is going to solve that problem necessarily, or else I think they would go for it a bit harder than they are now. But I do genuinely think that guys can just they just need to get better with God before anything else.
Right. So then with all that being said, do you guys think that you could have waited? Like, Bolu, do you think that you could have kind of waited before getting married? Like with with everything that you said in terms of like things that you could have worked on more in your singleness?
Be wise.
It's okay, your wife will understand.
To be honest, I definitely could have waited. But that time felt like the right time. I think God was actually leading me. I wasn't led astray for sure. And, just the oneness from all the advice, the Bible talks about in the multitude of counsel, there's safety, right? So I got that confirmation, not only from God, but also from the people around me.
Yeah.
So it was the right time. There wasn't any real reason for me to wait. But I definitely could have waited because I was also at a point in my life where, I was making a big transition due to like government papers and all of that. So it was kind of rough. But I think that was where I took the big step of faith, right? Because I was like, oh, how's this going to work out?
Yeah, maybe that was the push that you needed, right?
Yeah, so I would say God was also working in my heart. So it was a perfect time.
Okay, and Melo, what would you say? Could you have waited?
Yeah, you could definitely have waited, but why? But why wait, You're just slowing down the will of God for your life. You're going to wait and then, fall into some sort of sin? But, what's the point of waiting if you have everything ready, you're on track,
Yeah.
Just get it done.
I hear you. And having the girl there is just like, why wait? I'm just saying. But and how about you, Jason? Do you think you could have waited?
Oh yeah, I could have waited.
Yeah.
You put a could in front of anything, I'll believe it. But I didn't want to. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, fam? I didn't want to.
Gosh.
But nah, I mean,
yeah.
Like
you kind of had that mindset too, like why, right?
Yeah, why? Like my wife, obviously at the time she wasn't my wife, but like she like we just bonded, well together. Like everything, I was involved in, she was involved in, and it was just, it just felt like, what, man, like, this girl's gonna, this woman's gonna be with me for a long time, so I'm not, I don't want to waste no time, and I loved her, so I
Yeah.
wasn't.
Makes sense. And Jordan?
Yeah, I do think I could have waited. I think me and my wife both kind of agree on that. Like we've had conversations where it's like, yeah, I could have waited a couple of years, maybe got things more in order, and we weren't really in a hurry to do it, but it's just like why, everything practically was in place.
Yeah.
So there was no real reason as to why we shouldn't. So yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. So then what has marriage taught you then, Jordan? Like how would you, like what are some key things that you've learned through being married that you probably maybe didn't know before?
Oh man, do we have enough time for this?
Maybe just one thing then.
One thing that kind of comes to mind straight off the top is just how to work with people. It's how to work with people. Like me having constantly having to deal with issues that might rise up in the home or just problems. If you're constantly going through, I mean, not that our marriage is constant arguing and fighting, but anytime anytime you're spending a lot of time with one person, their issues and characters the flaws in their character start to stand out. So yeah, for me it's just learning how to be patient with people through the problems that they might portray through whether it's character issues, whether it's arguments, whether it's fights, just being able to be patient and understand they're not perfect right now.
Yeah.
They will never be perfect.
Yeah.
So how are we gonna handle the issues when they come up? And that flows into like every different, so many different areas of life, in the workplace, in your ministry, in your families, like outside of your home. It's just you learn how to deal with problems, how to be patient, how to rationalize, how to think things through and resolve issues later on. So it's like that's been my number one thing.
Melo, how about you?
For me, what I learned about marriage was accountability. It's like you're not by yourself no more.
Yeah.
Marriage, it's you and your wife, and like if anything were to go wrong, left or right, it's not like you're not affecting just your wife. You're affecting the family that is behind her. And you're affecting her friendships, her, like everything behind that, So you're accountable to each other.
Yeah.
It's like you're responsible for more than what you even know. And you have people looking at your relationships and they're taking an account to how you guys act and how you guys behave, or people looking up to you guys.
Yeah.
So accountability in marriage is one thing that I've realized, I have noticed, and I've learned around,
Oh, yeah, makes sense. How about you, Bolu?
So I'm generally laid back. So I'm generally a laid back person. When I was single, I was even more laid back. I would say being in marriage has really taught me to be, more active rather than passive. I don't just let anything just let anything go by or just go with emotions, because marriage is work, right? You have to really put effort into it. So, so like you said, being intentional, right? That's what I've learned, to do in marriage, to be active, to be there, for my wife, not just leave her, doing her own thing and I do my own thing, right? I should be more engaged. I think that's one very big thing that marriages taught me.
And how about you, Jordan? Jason, sorry.
It's all right. I've learned that marriage is a grind, right? It's a grind. Just like, we wake up every day and we go to work and we grind hard. We have to do the same for our marriages, because like they say, what's the statistic they throw out there? The divorce rate is what, like 50%, something like that. Yeah, so it's high, right? So, have to, just have to be mindful of that, and have to be mindful that, you have to work hard, at your marriage, and just make sure that, your spouse is taken care of in, every area, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, right? You just have to work hard, at your marriage, and just, yeah.
As you guys are talking and sharing, like one thing that I'm realizing is that like in marriage, just like you gain a lot of skills, a lot of like a lot of skills that become transferable in other areas in your life, right? Like being accountable and like, having that like work ethic and all that stuff. Like it's definitely skills that you learn like that you can transfer in other areas of your life, right? Yeah.
I think that's a big reason why, like years ago, people used to value when their employees, like managers would value when their employees were married,
yeah.
because there's a sense of responsibility there. That,
Yeah.
like these people know what it takes to lead or support or whatever.
Yeah.
Could I add something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yo, you guys remember when when you're single, and if you woke up that day and you weren't feeling good, you're calling in, you're like, yo, I'm not going to work. Boss, I'm sick, I can't come in, blah, blah, blah. Bro, as soon as you get married, that changes. The hustle changes, like, nah, I'm getting up.
Yeah, it's true. So then, okay, so coming into church now, so like I'm sure like when you guys were in the world, there was like a it girl for you, like not necessarily a specific person, but a type, right? So do you feel like, how did that change when you came into church? Like, did you feel like that changed, that type?
Did it change the type of girl
Like
in
that,
terms
like
of
preference?
preference?
Yeah.
Yes,
Or even like
absolutely.
not necessarily physical too, right? Like the type of girl you're going for. Yeah.
Yeah, like growing up on Jane Street, it's like you almost want a girl that's gonna cuss somebody out if they step out of line. I don't know. That was my person.
Like a bad girl?
Like a bad girl, like she's gonna be in my passenger seat and she's gonna ride or die.
Oh my
But she
gosh.
might give you a little bit of problems, but that's okay. I'm gonna
You're watching BT too much.
Too much.
You grew up on some.
Yeah, like character-wise, that was the type of person that I kind of liked in the world.
Wow.
Not necessarily that I went for or got, but it's just what
It
your
was like,
imagination.
that's how you're envisioning.
For sure. And but yeah, and like physically, it definitely differs when you come into the kingdom. The physical, although attraction is important, and I say this a lot, like to guys, because I feel like in Christianity, it's almost it's like shameful in a way
to say that
that I care about what my spouse, my future spouse
will
might look like.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of insane to me. Get somebody that you're actually physically attracted to when you're getting married. But but it can't be everything. It was a big thing for me when I was single, getting over the thought that Beyonce isn't gonna walk through the door and I'm not gonna be able to woo her and marry her. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a thing for me. And I just remember one day reading Proverbs 31. At the end of it, it says that charm is deceitful and beauty is passing, but a woman who fears the Lord, she shall be praised. And then all of a sudden, my mind switched. Right then and there. It's not just about the physical. It's not just about what you're attracted to, but more so, who are they in the inside? What's their relationship with God like? What is their character like in church? What are their relationships like in church? And are they in ministry? Do they love God? Is it evident that they do? And then when you have that, when you see that, and they start checking all those boxes, you'll see like more and more the physical starts to matter less and less.
Yeah. So then I know, Mello, you grew up on James and everything like that. So was that the same thing for you?
He got it.
Okay. Were you looking for some ride or die chick too? Like you came into church and you're just like, I need a girl that ride.
I don't know. You tell me. You tell me.
Is that so? Like. No, we want to know. So, did you come into church with that mindset too? Like, you kind of had an idea of what your future spouse would be or look like. Like, did you come with that mentality as well?
Yeah, I had definitely a mindset. you know, of what I wanted a girl to be like, you know, physically, you want that. But then as you grow in your Christianity, it's not supposed to change, but something will change where it's like these girls that you were idolizing now, it becomes more like, bro, you know, that's all lust and all of that stuff. So when you become
Jordan, you're laughing.
it's killing. You know, it's like most of the girls that we had in our mind it came from the things that we were watching on TV. It comes from like pornography. It comes from like BET, you know, Jade Street.
Yeah.
Girl cooking in the
kitchen or whipping, ride or die. It's like, and then you realize that those things are shallow. It's not like until you realize and start having conversations with people and different girls or different sisters, you realize, like, you know, who you want to be as a wife, characteristic, and reading your Bible. Like one thing, like you did want, like one thing Joy was saying, Jane Street girl wanted to cuss her off and all of that. But as you grow in Christianity, it's like, bro, and you hear about a contentious woman, like, yo, I go in my room, yo, nope, I'm gonna go in the forest, you know? It's like, bro, it's like, you don't even want that because in the world, contentious, you know, that argumentative type, it's attractive in some sense, you know?
Yeah.
But then as you get saved, it's like, nah, I don't want that. You know what
It's
I mean?
almost like the standards that the world gives you of like what a female should be or wife should be. It's
exactly.
like completely contrary to
Contrary.
like how the
perspective.
yeah, exactly. How about you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
sorry.
even now you will see that personality being portrayed as like a dominant type female, you know, with the feminist movement and all that.
Yeah.
But it's actually toxic, you know, like no man wants that really.
Yeah.
You know?
That makes sense. Yeah. And Jason, you were gonna say?
Yeah, growing up, no one on here knows this, but growing up, even like, even like you know,
Say
going
you wanted
into
a white girl, bro.
going into salvation. My wife knows about this, so I'm not gonna get in trouble. I wanted to marry a white girl.
Gosh.
Yeah. I wanted to marry a white girl.
Wow, cut the camera.
Why is that? Like, why? Like, is there a reason
Why?
behind
It was
that?
honestly.
Not that
it
there's
was,
anything wrong with white girls, but like,
It was-
why is that?
I'll be honest. It was because of media, right?
Okay.
I would watch. You know, you watch movies, watch TV, and they would
Family
always,
channel, bro. I told you.
bro. They would always make these, you know, white, you know, families look so, you know, great. These white women look so great, and then you flip the channel, you turn to BET, and you know,
The black
you know,
family.
You know, black
I guess
family
maybe
look
the
all
black family wasn't as attractive.
It wasn't.
to you, right?
It wasn't.
Yeah.
So, you know, like I was attracted to that. I was like, yeah, you know, I'm gonna marry a white girl. You know, yeah, I'll probably mess around with a black girl, but I'm gonna marry I'm gonna marry a
And the king
white
of
girl.
queens.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I think, that makes sense. I think, like, it just comes back to, like, the things that you watch as a child and how that, like, shapes your mindset of what you're going to go for as an adult, right? Because, it's crazy. Because, like, if you grew up watching Family Channel and, like, you see this big, happy white family, and then you see, like, you know, your reality, you grew up around just black people, right?
Yeah.
Broken home or whatever the case. And that's, like, that's what you're referencing. When you compare the two, it's like, oh, okay, like I'm obviously gonna want to go for the happy family, and maybe that's how you identified the white girl, right?
When my wife came on the scene, like when she got saved, she came to church, right? Whatever, a couple, like about 4 or 5 months after, you know, we started to like each other. I remember I would pray to God, be like, God, I don't like her. I don't like her. God, you know what I like. but man, like it was, you know, but it was strong, and you know, here I am today, you know, married to a black girl.
Yes, a beautiful black queen.
Beautiful black girl.
Yeah. How about you, Bolu?
To be honest, growing up, I would say, okay, my parents kind of a little bit shaped my mentality in that sense. They were always like, marry a Christian girl, marry a Christian girl, marry a Christian girl. And that was one side to it. The other side was that growing up also, I had many girls that I've liked, right? And they were all different shapes and sizes.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say that I really had, I wouldn't say I had
A
a
type?
type,
Okay.
in a sense. But
Like you were kind of open to anything?
yeah, I was very
Okay.
open, like shockingly open.
Okay.
And anyways, coming into
Jordan's like,
church,
open to what?
Shockingly open. How would I be shocked?
I shocked
go both
I
ways.
shocked
You
myself.
shocked yourself. He's like, whoa.
But anyways, coming into church now, I just also had, a change of mindset. Even though I grew up in a Christian home, I still had to surrender to God myself, give my life to Christ, and have like a real change of mindset to see what, the reason of marriage was and what, I was looking for in a lady, right? So in my wife, what I found was good character.
Yeah.
Good character, Christian lady, loves the Lord, and also she's very beautiful. So,
Yeah.
I I hit
All
the
around.
lottery.
Yeah.
I think one thing, like if I could just interject
Yeah.
one last thing, if it's like when it comes to appearance and looks, it doesn't matter how beautiful they are when they have a crappy attitude.
Yeah, it's true.
If you're fighting and arguing constantly, that
You don't
beautiful
even see
person is
that.
gonna look disgusting to you. You're not gonna want to be around them, and it won't matter much,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah.
Yeah, and I like what you said earlier when you were saying how they act in church, right? Like when you're not even around, that matters as well because, yeah, like when arguments arise, when conflicts do come, and they will come in marriage, right? Like that's really who you're gonna be dealing with, right? Because any girl, like we could finesse, we can be like, oh hey, like put up a smile and have that nice attitude, but when when we're upset, that's really the real person. So. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, guys, honestly, this was a really good talk. Like, it was fun.
yep.
We got really to get to know each other. So, what are some last words that you want to leave for the people? Because remember, like, this discussion is really to understand how to be secure while we're single as well as in marriage. So, what are some last words that you want to leave with our audience that's following this?
Could I go
Yeah,
first?
go ahead,
Yeah.
Jason.
I would just say, in anything, put God first, right? Put God first. I know like people are, already know that, and like people hear that so often, but sometimes like we could fail, to practice it,
Yeah.
right? But especially in marriage, put God first and just grind. Like work hard at anything you do. Work hard at your marriage. Work hard. Maybe you're single and you're living for God, you're trying to do things, work hard at that, you know what I mean? Give yourself to what you're doing and allow your best to come out and allow God to use your best.
Yeah.
Right, but that's what I would say.
Anybody else?
I would say trust God. Trust God, and regardless what your position is.
Yeah.
If you're single and you're contemplating who you're gonna, especially for the men, if you're single and you're contemplating who you're gonna marry, what your future is gonna look like, I would say just trust God in it all. Faith is going to override any fear that you might have in your mind regarding the person you might choose or the problems that you might face, whether it's practically or spiritually. Faith in God, trusting in God is going to override that. So don't be hesitant. And I said this earlier in my intro. Don't be hesitant in choosing who it is that you're going to be married to.
Yeah.
But rather have faith in God that the choice is going to align with His will.
Thank you so much for watching Secured. Please stay tuned and catch the next episode coming soon.